Hello, hello, hello. Aloha, guys. Welcome. I'm so excited today. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we've got Dr. Wesley Fisher. He's actually one of my clients, and we're here. We're going to be talking about his journey from going from a burnout school teacher to building a seven-figure government contract business. That's right. And we're going to break down exactly how he did it, the strategies that worked, and how his students are actually replicating his success. So jump right on in. Dr. Wesley Fisher, welcome to the show.
What's up, Miss Beautiful Stacia Kennedy? Thanks for having me on the show and on your channel. I really appreciate
So
it.
take us back. Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to do this with you because a lot of people have been asking me about this. So take us back to the beginning where you're a school teacher,
Yeah.
about almost a decade of that, and making this transition. What was the moment like when you decided to make this leap into government contracting?
That's a great question. Yeah, it was definitely 2020. COVID, all that stuff was going on, all that stuff was going down. I had taught special education for 8 years up until that point, and then they sent us home. And I was like, okay, that's cool. We're home. We're still making money. We're still working remotely. But I was like, I want to do something different. I want to change my life. At the time, I was making $50K a year as a school teacher. I had my master's degree at the time. And I was like, okay, this is great, but there's got to be something more out there. And I went down the rabbit hole, as you know, on the internet, right? I'm looking at day trading, Airbnb, Toro, side hustles, pallet flipping, all that stuff. But it wasn't until really I'm fast forwarding now, government contracting that changed it all for me. That's what changed it all. But that's where I was at. I was as a school teacher that was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, golden handcuffs. And I was like, I got to try something different. I love the idea of making money online. Everyone should be trying to make money online, but you got to just find your vehicle. And I found my vehicle in government contracting.
So as we know, most teachers, especially, don't make a lot of money, maybe 40, 50K a year. Then you discovered this government contracting opportunity. Let's talk about those early days. What was your financial situation like, and how quickly did things change once you got your first contract?
That's a good question. Here's a funny story. And I tell people all the time. My first contract wasn't even like a big contract, but it's great that you asked that. It was for Catholic services in the federal prison in California. And two things for you guys listening: I'm not Catholic, nothing wrong with it, and I also don't live in California. So we'll talk about the middleman strategy later. But the point about that is, it was the idea as a school teacher. I work in special ed, so I had students that were actually in jail, and I had to go to the jail to provide special services to them. Like, I would teach them math, I would teach them English, but I would have to like clock in, put my stuff in a little case, lock it up, ask to get in, ask to go inside, and I had to ask to leave. That was like, I hated that feeling. I was like, this is not for me. But in government contracting, my first contract was for the federal prison. And for me, it wasn't even the amount of money. It was more of like, whoa, when this Catholic chaplain goes into that prison, I get paid every hour he is physically there. I said, that's a game changer. I said, this is changing the game in life. If you can make money, my mentor said one time, I know you probably heard this quote as well, until you figure out a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work to the day you die, right? That's the way the saying goes. So until you figure that out for whatever you guys are doing, like whatever business you're working on, you got to figure out a way to make money that you're not physically there. My first government contract, this is back in 2021 when I won this first contract, and it changed my mindset from there.
That's wild. So let's talk about that a little bit more. What was it like? How did you find that contract? Like, what was your approach to winning it when you had zero experience in this field?
Good question. Again, now I would definitely say invest in yourself, right? I know you believe in this as well. You guys got to invest in yourself. Like, I'll be honest, I invested in myself. I found a mentor. Shout out to my mentor, Jason White. I found a mentor. I found a course. I got into a program, and I followed a proven system. I was like, okay, you mean to tell me this man, when I met this man, he actually came to Cleveland, did a whole day workshop, told me about the money he's making, showed me the receipts. And I said, you mean to tell me you're making this type of money doing the middleman concept from a website called sam.gov? He said, yeah. I said, okay, let me do the same thing. So I actually won that first contract for Catholic services in a federal prison. I won that in 30 days, y'all, 30 days, because I followed that system. I went to sam.gov. I found the opportunity listed. I called churches. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just picking the phone, calling churches in California. Hey, do you have a priest that wants to do prison services? No. Hey, do you have a priest that wants to do I'm just calling random churches. And the funny thing is, one church lady was so sweet. She was like, sweetheart, you need to call the Catholic diocese. I said, what is a diocese? I don't know what that is. She said, you need to call them. She gave me the number. I called the Catholic diocese. The Catholic diocese said, you need to call the prison ministry. I said, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So they gave me the number to the prison ministry. I called the prison, and this is all within like 2 days. I called the prison ministry, and they said, oh, you need to talk to Chaplain Richard. He does the church across the street. He does the prison across the street. He'll love to do that prison. I said, great, give me his number. So then I called Chaplain Richard, and the rest is history. I got his resume. I submitted my proposal. I won the contract. But that was the process that I followed, and that's how it happened.
Nice. So basically, you went from a teacher's salary to landing your first contract. Then what happened next? How did you scale from that first win to moving on?
Yeah, so that first win was a couple $1,000s, right? Not he only worked a couple hours a month, so it's not a huge contract. But my next win was $450,000. Now that wasn't the whole profit, but 6 figures in profit out of that contract. So all I did was rinse and repeat, right? Just rinse and repeat a proven system. So basically in 21, when I really started winning contracts, I was winning a contract every month and a half. For every month and a half, I will win a contract. So I would say within like my first year, I think we pulled in maybe like 8 or 9 contracts, and then over 6 figures in profit. You know, fast forward now, we've been awarded over $4.5 million in the contracts and awards. And I think we're at 17, 18 contracts awarded now. So it's not about large quantities. As people know, it's not about like winning like 10 contracts a month. You don't even need that. You just need to know the numbers and know how to go about it. So life is different. I mean, honestly, I didn't go back to teaching. So I left teaching in 2020. They told us, COVID wasn't over, but they said, come the next school year. Hey, Wesley, are you ready to come back in the classroom? And at that time, I already had won the Catholic priest. I won the $450,000 contract. I won a few other contracts. So I said, no, I'm good. I'm not coming back to the classroom. I miss the kids. I love the kids, but I'm not coming back. So that new school year in 21 is when I kind of basically, quote unquote, retired from teaching. And I never had to go back since.
Awesome. You mentioned the middleman strategy, which is the real foundation of your approach. Can you break that down for us? Like, as someone with absolutely no background in government work, being from Hawaii here, I always thought that was just something people in the military did. So how does that actually work in this practice?
Great question. And the funny thing is, we're all at some level, guys, we're all a middleman at some levels. Like you go buy a car somewhere, you enjoy that car you bought, and you're like, hey, let me go tell my friend about where I bought my car at, right? You're a middleman. You're giving that company a lead. We're just doing it on the government level, meaning that, for example, I don't have all the details, but I just won a contract about a week ago. It was for an Indian school here in America, and it was for I can't think of it. I was going to say HVAC. It's for HVAC repair. And the reason I'm laughing when I say this is because I've never seen the school. I don't know what the school looks like. I don't know. I've never been there. But what I did was I found the opportunity and I became the middleman, meaning the government says, we need help. We need someone to repair this HVAC in the school. We need someone to come out here and do it. And I said, you know what? I can be the guy or the gal for the job. I can find someone who can do it. And I raise my hand and say, I'll do it for you. So, right. And then I go partner or a JV joint venture. I go partner with a physical company who's out there and who can actually do the job. And it's just as simple as that. Simple as 1, 2, 3. That's the process in a nutshell.
That's fascinating. I actually been doing it as well too. Like I just not as far as government contract, but just helping people, middleman, other services like my services. I actually do that all the time. Like, oh, you need, this, you need a graphic design, you need that. And I literally outsource it to other people, even though I can do it myself. But
you do it all. Yeah, we all do it.
We do it.
You're excellent at it. You're excellent.
Thank you. You're essentially connecting the government with service providers and taking a cut in the middle. So what types of contracts have you seen that are been most profitable using this approach? Are there certain industry or niches that work better than others?
There can be. I definitely, as the middleman, I always tell people we can do anything, right? Anything at all things. It doesn't matter what it is. But are there things where there's more government funds too? Like, yes, like technology, uh, subscriptions to different softwares. There's a lot of margin on that. Honestly, you know what? Speaking of software, the government could probably use the software you recommend. I think about
Yeah,
it, like in some cases,
exactly.
for sure.
They do. I
They
know.
do.
I've
They,
seen
they probably do. All right. So
that.
you probably can find departments and find other, initiatives that they need that. So long story short, there's a lot of profit margin there. But even outside of that, for me, it was Catholic services, it was HVAC cleaning, it was chimney cleaning, landscaping, dry cleaning, and a little bit of small construction I'm working on as well. So I'm just really diversified. I'm just kind of bidding on whatever I see. But honestly, the sky's the limit. You got to kind of find, what you want to go after. And the thing is, for me, I don't niche down. Nothing wrong with niches. When it comes to the government, I kind of tell the government I can do whatever you need, and I'll go figure it out. But like you said, is there more money with some departments in some places? Oh, of course, of course. Technology is one for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about is when you're bidding on these contracts, that it might be outside of your expertise, of course, because you're in the middleman. How do you
Yeah.
find reliable subcontractors? Because
Ooh.
I imagine if they don't deliver, that falls on you. Right?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, that's true. Now, the simple answer I say all the time in my training is, we go to Google, we find the company, we get the quote, we submit the proposal. That's the long story short. However, like, yes, there is some nuances to it when it comes to finding good subs and vetting them. Like, I don't really look at Angie's List. I don't look at really Google reviews per se. Like, they matter, but I'm not really, when it comes to the speed and getting a quote, I'm not too much worried about that. But you're right, it does matter. I even have a contract right now. I'm not going to say who, but we've won the contract in September of 2024, and the contract should hopefully be done this week or next week. So you can see that's a long time. And I don't want to date this video. We don't know when this video, I don't want to date it. But what's to say September till 5-6 months later? That's a long time, and that's because of the sub not being that great, because of the sub not meeting deadlines, because of all that stuff. But here's the opportunity. Here's I want to tell you guys. The money is in the opportunity. The opportunity being is your job to coordinate that sub. Is your job to get them going to by any means necessary. And if you can get them going and get them on timeline and get it finished, you can make a lot of money, right? So that's typically what I've never had. This is the one contract that I've had a headache with, but typically I don't have those headaches because I build rapport with my subs. I keep them on strict deadlines, but I do it all from home. I like to tell people, maybe an hour a month. I know this sounds crazy. I maybe speak to my subs an hour a month, maybe. Not this one though. This one's been every week, but other ones about an hour a month because it's just typically they're the experts. They know what to do. They're gonna go in and do the job. It's not that complicated, but there's nuances to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one thing with getting the contract. You still have to do a little bit of work, but in the end, it's the exponential amount of profit that you get without having you being out in the field and pushing the snow or mowing the grass is where the opportunity lies.
Correct. Yeah. You're not doing the physical work.
It's really interesting. So you mentioned earlier you've been helping students model this. Can you share a couple of success stories that stand out to you?
Absolutely. We got tons. My claim to fame, we love to say, is that our students have been awarded over $100 million in government contracts, and that's going back since 22. So if you guys don't know, you see the timeline. I started government contracting in 2020. Have a lot of sex, still winning contracts myself. I didn't start coaching or helping other people until 22 because I was just doing my own thing. But since 22, $100 million in awards. I mean, even just recently, just last week, we had a student win a contract, $170,000, $180,000 contract. Shout out to Delroy. $45,000 profit to clean some pipe, to go into the pipes underneath the building and, it's basically snake drains and make sure that the water flows. Like, that's it, right? Making $40K profit, one-time job. We've even had students win, again, as you said before, we've had students win 5 figures, 6 figures, and 7 figures. So like I can go 45K profit. I can even go upwards of 7-figure contracts, multiple 6-figure profit. And it could be about the craziest things. Like I was talking to Sheena, shout out to Sheena, just on Wednesday, and she has a blank PPA, which is a blank purchase agreement for $7 million. That's how much her contract is, $7 million. Now, blank purchase agreement just means you're not sure how often they're going to order, but she's just packaging things. Like, for example, right now, she's going to be packaging some Pelican cases on 4840 pallets, the boxes, da. So she's not the one providing the product. She's just the one who's in charge of packaging. And she makes money every time the government ships something. Every time they ship something, she'll make money. So her profit margin just depends on how often they ship, but her total contract is $7 million. So
amazing.
There's the broadness of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've had students win contracts on sheep shearing. I mean,
that was too. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Pushing the snow every time it snows, she gets paid. Mowing the lawn. You don't have to do any of it, but it's amazing. Yep. So I want to address though some skepticism. This is huge numbers. People might have, a little bit of skepticism. How is this possible? There's this perception that government contract is all about, the connections, or you need special certifications. What's your response to that?
Yeah, my response is, guys, the average Joe or Jail, whatever you want to call it, can do this. Like, my students, I like to say my students are Black, white, young, old, doesn't matter, female, male, doesn't matter, school teacher, former military, active military, no association with the military. And by the way, I have no association with the military. Sometimes people think like, or I say, are you a veteran? No. Thank you for your service for all my veterans, but I have no association with the military. You don't need to be military to do government contracting. So that's the low barrier entry. I guess what I will say is that it's a very low barrier entry. At the end of the day, I say this all the time, sam.gov, the website that we're talking about, all this money's at, is 100% free. You can go to sam.gov, you can register for free, and that's the way you can get started. Now, if you want to accelerate your speed, obviously you can invest in yourself and you can invest in coaching and training to go faster, but at its core, it's a very low entry to get started in government contracting. Yeah.
Another criticism I've heard is that the middleman approach isn't sustainable, or that the government doesn't like working with companies that subcontract everything out. What's your take on that, especially in these times too?
That's a great question. Yeah, especially in these times with government spending being watched, right? Government, Doge, Trump, everyone's, being wary of different things. I would tell people this, it hasn't really affected us very extremely when it comes to the middleman concept, because at the end of the day, the way you guys need to look at government contracting, the way we do it is we're just solving a problem, right? Now, we're not trying to scam the government. You don't want to sell a hammer that costs $5 and you're selling it for $350. Like that's insane. And here's the funny thing is, in the past has happened. Like not my time, but back in the day, back in the day, there used to be days the joke goes, you buy the hammer for $5 and you sell it to the government for $350. Like that was the thing. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're solving a problem. The government's saying, hey, we need someone to go to this school in the middle of nowhere and fix this HVAC. Can you coordinate someone to do it? Yes, we can. Now we're going to make some profit on top because we have to actually do work to make it work. But that's what we're doing. It's not about marking up to scam the government. It's about providing a service to the government, and that's what we do.
Awesome. Let's talk about your program now. We've got the Contracting Blueprint program and a 5-day challenge coming up that I help you host, actually. So what actually are you teaching people in these programs?
Yes, thank you. Miss Stacia, you've been amazing. We've been working together for some years now, and you've been behind the scenes, helping us put this whole thing together. And I really just shout out to you and your systems, just to say that your systems, go high level, systems outside of that, AI, like you're just so diverse. And like, I thank you when it comes to like scaling my coaching side. Like I told you guys before, I made money in this government contracting, and then like coaching was like not my lane, right? It wasn't my lane. I don't know how to put on a 5-day challenge. I didn't know how to put that stuff on. So I called you up, was it 2 years ago or maybe even 3? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I think
called
it's been
you.
3 years now.
Might have been 3 years when I first
Yeah.
called you. Yeah, and then here's the thing, it's a funny story. I first called her, right? And I said, I wanna do a 5-day challenge, tell me your price. I went out there and tried it myself, right? Burnt myself out. It was like, oh my God, pulling out all the rest of my hair. Like, this is like exhausting. I think I might have did 1 or 2, and then I called you back a month or 2 later, like, hey, Stacia, yeah, can you do a 5-day challenge?
And I said, "Who's this?" Just kidding.
Who's this again? I'm like, remember I called you like a month ago or 2 months ago? Yeah, I did them. And the thing is, I made money. They did them, but it was like systems, technology, making people. And back to okay, I know your question was like, so what are you helping people do? So I'm helping you guys win contracts in these trainings. But again, I want to shout out Stacia because we it's all about you guys. We want you guys to win contracts, but we put together a 5-day challenge. We have one coming up literally Monday. Live 5-day challenge, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in that challenge, we're going to help people break barriers by submitting a proposal in 5 days or less. Guaranteed, by the way, 5 days or less. It takes the average company years to submit a proposal. It takes the average company years to win a contract. Now, again, I can't guarantee you're going to win in 5 days. I can't guarantee that. There's no way I can guarantee that. But I can guarantee you're going to submit. And Stacia and myself, us working together, that challenge has been very successful. I want to say in 23 we did like 12 of them. 24 we kind of took a break. We might have done 1 or 2. We did 1 so far in 25, and we got 1 coming up next week. And we've trained thousands of people. And honestly, I can't even speak to the win amount after 5-day challenge because we haven't spoke to every single person. But we've had so many people who have had success from that as well. Even before they got into our mentorship program, we've had people have success with that. So it's going to be a fun ride next week. It's going to be a fun ride.
That's so funny. Someone here just actually stumbled across by accident and was looking at your cloud wall ceiling video, but they're definitely interested in signing up. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that link below as well.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious. Thank you guys. Yeah, that's funny. I went viral because that video has like 5 million whatever views on a cloud light that's in my room, another room next door. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, drop the link.
Cool.
That's awesome.
We'd love to have you. I've actually seen a lot of people get a lot of success just from the 5-day alone. We do have, Dr. Wesley Fisher has also a mentorship program, but this is really the pivotal point, and people have gotten major results from this. So I'm going to ask you, I already know the answer, but typically what is the timeline for some, and not everyone, like he said, comes and tells us what they want, but typically how long does it take for someone to go through the program and land their first contract? What are the factors and influence on how quickly people get results?
Yeah. So the main thing, guys, when people get into our mentorship program, we tell people all the time that the numbers don't lie. Is 1 out of 20. You're going to win a proposal when you submit on average 20 proposals. Now, sometimes there's 23, 25. Sometimes it's 5. We've had people submit 3 proposals and win a contract. I'm like, well, that's not, you're above average right now, but it's typically 20 proposals. Now, the time it takes you to submit 20 proposals, that part's on you. I remember we had a student named, his actual name is Wesley as well. His name was Wesley. A gentleman, at the end of 6 months, he had won his first contract, and he was ecstatic. He was like, Wes, I want to speak in class on Tuesday. I want to tell everyone that what you said was right. I won my contract, and we got him in class, and he was like, Wesley was right. I won my contract. You're like, 6 months. We're like, well, how many proposals did you submit? He said, I submitted 20. We're like, yay! Like, we're happy for you. You're excited. However, and he's honest. He's like, he's not very big on technology. You don't got to be a technology expert, but you should know how to copy and paste and send emails. So he kind of struggled a little bit with that. So he won his first contract in 6 months. Actually, that contract ended up making him, I think, 15 or 20 grand. So it was still a win, but we've had students win their first contract in 2 weeks because they did what? They submitted the same 20 proposals. So it comes down to the numbers. Remember, the 5-day challenge is focused on just getting you that first one in, getting over that first hump. And then we do have other levels and support that you guys may want to consider so we can get you that first win.
Awesome. You have a lot of great videos, and one of them was talking about the hidden expense that keeps you broke, where you talk about the cost of not knowing. That really resonated with me. Can you elaborate on that concept for the people?
I sure can. Yeah, that's the one that got me going too. One of my mentors, Marco Russell. Shout out to Marco Russell. He showed me that. He said, Wes, I guess I'll sum it up real quick. He said, what is the goal number you want? Right? I think it was $1 million. I want to make $1 million in this new business venture I'm doing. How do I get there? He's like, okay, well, how much did you make in that business? I want you guys to all do the math if you're watching this. Take your dream number of what you want. Let's say it's $1 million, just for easy math. And how much did you make last year? Right? And I'm like, well, 50 grand. I made 50 grand last year. He said, oh, okay, you made 50 grand. That's awesome, right? So 50 grand minus, $1 million minus 50 grand is $950,000. I said, okay, what does that mean? He said, well, guess what? I got bad news for you. And things in life, you got two major expenses in life. You got taxes. No matter what, I forgot I have that on. No matter what, there's not balloons for taxes. It's not balloons. But no matter what no matter life in life, you're gonna pay taxes. He said the second expense in life is not knowing. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, you paid life $950,000 last year because you did not know how to make $1 million. And I was like, whoa, really? He said, yeah, think about it. I said, yeah, you're right. Because at the time, and by the way, y'all, I'm not trying to, impress you, but I was looking at a mastermind program. It was $54,000. And I was like, I'm not going to, that's a lot of money. But he said, well, last year you paid life $950. And I said, okay. And he said, if you take that into the last 20 years, some of us are young and some of us are younger. 20 years, that's 19 million. So it's like you paid life 19 million already to not know how to make $1 million in a year. And remember, that $1 million in a year is not just a number. We're not all about money. It's about freedom. It's your freedom number. Whatever that number is for you, is taking your kids to Disney, is being able to travel when you want to travel, being able to live on a farm if you want to live on a farm. Like that freedom number, if you haven't earned it yet and you're still working a day job, nothing against jobs. I'm not a job shamer. But if you're still working a day job, working your 9 to 5, making 30, 40, 50K a year, and you don't have the life you want, you still have that expense. You've already made a choice. So Stacia dropped the link in the chat. If you guys are interested in government contracting, we've given you an option, a very, very, very affordable option for you to change your direction. But either way it goes, whether you work with Stacia in some other capacity, you got to make a decision to make that investment so that you can change your life. And that was that secret for me. I'm glad you liked it as well, huh, Stacia?
Yeah, love it. Love it. So I'd love to have you guys join us for the whole week next week. And basically, Dr. Wes is going to go over a simple system that he's taught. We both taught in the system. It's a very simple system, very simple to do, very simple not to do as well. But if you stick with us for the whole week, it's going to be incredibly valuable. So Dr. Wes, for people watching and who are interested in learning more about this approach and this 5-day challenge starting soon here on Monday, tell us what they can expect to learn. And actually, this may be the last one because actually this is going to be the last one I'm doing with him. So you guys better get in this week. So what can they expect more over the 5 days and how can they get involved? Well, they can get involved by clicking the link in the description, but what can they expect to learn? As well as, we went over being able to, submit by the end of the 5 days, but can we go into a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So every component involved in that. So thank you, Stacia. Yeah. Stacia kind of helped me really put the whole framework together. She's not just a button pusher. She's a framework coach. No, seriously. Yeah. She's a framework. She's a strategist. She's not just like, let me set this automation up and forget it. It's like, you need the strategy, right? So Stacia, you did a great job with the strategy and said, hey, Wesley, here's the blueprint. Here's how we're going to do it. So over those 5 days, it's like, we're covering 3 steps: how to find opportunities, how to get a quote, how to submit, period. Those are 3 steps. We're covering over 5 days. And Stacia did a great job in laying out the framework on that. And that's how we're going to do it. And what Stacia said as well, guys, right now, I'll be honest with you guys, we got burned out. Like we did one every month in 23. And it's just like, it was exhausting. And then 24, we kind of took a break, changed direction. We did one in January. So as you guys are watching this, you better go buy your ticket now. Cause as of right now, this is the last live one. Like this is it. Like this is a lot of energy. And here's the thing is we want to deliver for you guys and give you guys a great product. However, even back in 23, we could have just turned this into an evergreen day one and been done, right? We could have been did that, right? And we never did. We want to give back. So we're giving you guys a heads up. We're giving you a heads up that right now is live. Doesn't mean it's going to be live forever. So you might want to get a ticket if you want to be able to ask your questions as well. There's VIP with all the details on the website. The link is in the chat. I also put the link on my YouTube for you, Stacia. I think they couldn't see the comment.
Okay, good.
I think they only could see. Yeah, I don't know if it works that way. So I put your link on mine as well, so that way they can see it. So,
thank you. Yes, awesome. So if you're watching this, guys, and you want to learn exactly how to tap into government contracts using Dr. Wesley Fisher's middleman strategy, like I said, and actually I may not have mentioned it, I've just actually, out of all of the people I've worked with, I've actually worked with multiple people in the same industry, but doing different types of strategies within government contract. But I love Dr. West's teachings because he has that teaching background. And so I know you're going to love his teaching style as well. As he said briefly, he worked with special education, and I always joke around and I'm special ed too, so it really helps. So I just love his teaching style. Is the point, but it's incredibly a small investment compared to the potential returns. And as Dr. West mentioned, the cost of not knowing is far greater than the cost of the education that you're going to be receiving over the next 5 days. So Dr. West, thank you so much for breaking it all down this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. Hopefully you're watching it before the challenge coming up here. And if, there may not be another one, so make sure to click on that link and join us this coming week. In the future, if you come across this video in the future, make sure to reach out to Dr. West and see what other programs he has that you may want to jump on in. If you're seeing this after the fact, but hopefully you're seeing this right here, right now. Take action. Any final thoughts for someone who's on the fence about getting started?
Thank you, Miss Stacia, again for your time and put me on your platform. Just got to make the leap, guys. You've heard of all the. I don't know. I don't have much to say. Just you got to take the leap. If you know, as you guys have seen in the economy, everything's going on with all the administration. Things for different things has changed. I think the biggest thing I want to say, and I'll just kind of be short, is that if you're only making income, I'll just be real with you guys. If you're only making income from one stream, meaning your W-2 job, or just your one business, your one stream of income, that's not good. You got to have other streams of income. I'm not saying side hustles. I mean like actual streams of income, actual businesses. You got to diversify. So if government contracting is one of those, go for it. If it's something else, using an online platform or something using, Go High Level or AI or something, you gotta use something and start making income a different way and not just make it from your W-2 job. So that's all I got to say.
There you have it, guys. Make sure to check out the 5-day challenge if you're serious about exploring government contracting as a business model. The most successful people, he nailed it right there, have multiple streams of income. They have actually 7. I have 3. So if you want to drop a comment below, if you have any questions, otherwise, much love and aloha, and we'll see you guys on the next episode or in the 5-day challenge. We'll see you then.
Bye, y'all.